It's the home stretch of the CEBL season with major playoff implications on the line. Welcome into the Envision Financial Court at the Langley Events Center. We've got the Vancouver Bandits hosting the Saskatoon Mamba. For the Bandits, it's very simple. They sit atop the Western standings. A win tonight guarantees home court in at least the first round of the playoffs. Meanwhile, for the Mamba, they sit at 10-10 all year. It's been up and down the whole campaign, but they've been up as of late. Winners of 3 straight. They're playing their best ball to date, and they're hoping to do something tonight they've never done in their franchise's history, and that is win on this court in Langley. With more, let's send it to the booth. Andrew Savory and Cheryl Jean-Paul with the call.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Andrew Savory here alongside Cheryl Jean-Paul. Hard to believe this summer has flown by so quickly. These Bandits have had the Saskatoon Mamba's number. They've won on the road. They've also won up in Kelowna. Now the Mamba come here to LEC. They've never won here before. Cheryl, this group really flying for head coach Isaiah Fox. Winners of 3 straight, taking out Brampton, Calgary, Edmonton. Looking to lock down the 3rd seed in the West, if not the 2nd. There's still a little bit of time with Winnipeg falling today.
Right.
What's really standing out to you for this Mamba group?
Staying in the moment, and that's what teams need to do at this point of the season. If you look at some of the stats right now for this matchup, there's very little that separates these two teams. The ability to knock down the 3-point shot is something that I'm going to highlight in my points, because it's going to be interesting to see if Saskatoon can balance out the bigs from the Bandits from the 3-point line.
Vancouver can clinch home court. They already have a playoff spot with a win tonight. With more on that, we'll send it over to Kevin, joined now by Bandits head coach Rance Brempong.
Yeah, Rance, thanks for joining us now. Okay, so you're hosting a Saskatoon team, a very hungry Saskatoon team, winners of 3 straight. What's the game plan tonight?
The game plan is for us to stick to our principles, not take them lightly, to rely on our defense, right? Our defense will turn to our offense and play fast.
New player on the roster, that's nothing new for this team, but Steven Zimmerman, a 7-footer. What's the plan to get him in on the action tonight?
You know, whenever you integrate a new player, there's a bit of a process there, but you know, the way this league is, and we only got 3 games, we got to get him in there tonight. I'm trying to make him not do anything outside of his character, right? He's a big boy, he's 7 feet. He's going to add to our double big lineup, and right, you know, I want him to play aggressive inside.
And you know what's on the line tonight? Andrew just said it, a win tonight guarantees home court in that first round. How motivated are the guys tonight?
I mean, super motivated. I mean, any game we're motivated, but to have an opportunity to play home court here in front of these fans is big. We're not taking it lightly. We want to get that done tonight.
Rance, thanks for this, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Kevin and Durans. Not to be taken lightly, these Mamba are a lot more right around the corner in this pregame show. Don't go anywhere. You're watching CBL action live on CBC Gem, YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
Hello, Canada. Welcome to a new CEBL season. It's been amazing, Canada basketball, to put that platform and give guys an out.
The crowds were bigger. The players got better. The quality of the game got better.
You gotta love it, Canadian hoops.
Fasten your seatbelt tonight, because we're going to have some high energy and some high flying stuff.
This is a trail. This is for real. It's all that I gotta say. I'm in my zone.
No shortage of emotion, no shortage of intensity as anticipated.
Welcome back inside the Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. The Bandits have taken over the #1 seed in the Cal Tire Western Conference from the Winnipeg Sea Bears. We're just moments away from tip-off, and Cheryl, you picked a few keys to the game for both sides, presented by CDIC. First, for the visitors, the Saskatoon Mamba.
Hold your ground. It's going to be so important for these Mamba team to continue to understand what it took to get to that 3-game winning streak. They're one of the few teams in the CBL this season that's actually scoring more on the road than at home, so that works in their favor. Doesn't have to be pretty. Those last 2 games that they've played, a 2-point close game, 6-point win. They're prepared to get dirty, get their hands dirty to get the job done. And 3-point specialists. This is a team that can shoot the lights out. 41% from the 3-point line in their last 3 wins. So, with Tavian Dunmartin and Jameer Chaplin and Monsanto, who we'll talk about in a little bit, they've got some guys that can knock down some big shots.
The Mamba, the top 3-point shooting team in the CEBL, and for Vancouver, they split their road trip. It took a big comeback last weekend at LEC against Montreal. Your keys to the game presented by CDIC for the Bandits.
Home sweet home. You have to play like you love playing here, and your fans love it when there's a lot of big scores. So averaging just under 98 points a game at home, they can get the job done offensively, but as Coach Rands also said, getting the job done defensively. So do the early work. Don't allow, as much as for the fans, that 22-point comeback was amazing. I'm not sure, the staff are excited about getting into those situations where they have to make those big comebacks. And one of the big parts of that early work is the Canadian big boys. We've seen what Karnik can do. Obviously, Tyrese Samuel has been a marquee player this whole season. Parolin has been stepping up, and all 3 are connecting on the boards, and that's the area of the game that they have to dominate.
Vancouver, it was their largest comeback ever in franchise history last weekend, down 22 against the Montreal Lions. You said it, they don't want to dig that type of hole tonight. And as we get ready to take a look at the starters and the starting lineups for both squads, lots to look forward to in the storylines for either team. First for the Saskatoon Mamba, Trey Townsend, Tavian Dunmartin, the Canadian Devontae Bandu, Jaden Bediako, one of the top rebounders in the league, and of course, Jameer Chaplin. For Vancouver, Jarkel Joyner in the starting lineup, joined by Tyrese Samuel, Jarrell Eddy, Tevin Brown, and the defensive maestro, Lloyd Pandy. Cheryl, you've outlined a player to watch for either team. It's the newcomer for the Mamba, Damari Monsanto. What do you got for him?
Coming off the bench today, not in the starting lineup, but this player can knock down some big shots. 7 for 11 from the 3-point line in their last game, 26 points, and so he's putting the league on notice. He's ready to step in and do some big things.
Mar Monsanto, Summer League earlier this month, and for Vancouver, it's someone who's well known around these parts. Mr. Karnik, offensive rebounding specialist as of late, your player to watch. Almost
averaging a double-double at this point, 13 points, 9.7, but it's just that physicality. There's length and there's height, and then there's Superman type of play, and he comes in, and his physical presence is known, ripping down the rims on those thunderous dunks, as you mentioned from the previous game.
Karnik, the game winner on the road against Winnipeg. He was crucial in that comeback against Montreal as well. About a minute and change away from tip-off here right around the corner. But looking at these head-to-head, this is going to be exciting. The swingman position in the power forward, big-to-big lineup. Karnik is a big part of that for Vancouver.
Monsanto in some ways needs to understand what his matchup is going to provide. We've been talking about the defensive scheme that other teams have been trying to exploit on some of the switches that the Bandits take. And so for someone who can find ways to get open and knock down those threes, it's going to be important for them to recognize when the shots are being developed.
And for Coach Fox, we talked about it, the Mamba trending correctly at the right time. They can let it fly in a hurry. They want to get to a big stop here.
Well, they've been able to find ways. They're not coming here searching for a win. They've already won 3 in a row. So it's really about understanding what is playoff basketball going to look like and feel like for both these teams, because they're both fighting for something that they want. The Mamba, the season's not over yet. They have a great chance of finishing as high as second if they can, even hosting a playoff game. And obviously we talked about these Bandits knowing what the cost does. The majority of the teams in the CBL this year do not have winning records on the road, so that's where a lot of teams have been struggling. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Bandits do to maintain that home court advantage.
That playoff game would be Thursday, August 6th, but a long way from that right now. Vancouver, this is their 3rd last game of the season. For Saskatoon, their 4th last, and for the Mamba as well, clinching a playoff berth at the least. We'll see if they're where they end up in the standings for the first time since 2022. A big success for the Saskatoon Mamba group. And tonight, our tip-off presented by Spalding, the official game ball of the CEBL, as both squads line up. Vancouver repping the same orange that they wore in Winnipeg, that they won in. Taking the tip for the Mamba in the black and purple is Jaden Bediako, always a force on the glass. Tipped back by Samuel and off and running here at Envision Financial Court. There's Tevin Brown and Pandy, former Blackjacks and Bundesliga teammates. Inside to Samuel, quick touch to the Frenchman. Makes the move, gets to his left, can't finish. 5 seconds to work. Joyner gets right inside. Early buckets for Jarkel Joyner.
We've seen him play so many different roles on this team, coming off the bench, playing the second guard, back in the starting lineup that last game, really finding his way to establish himself. Great early execution there and getting something inside, kicking it out, attacking the rim. Here's Townsend going to work.
Strong inside move. Samuel is there. Jarrell Eddy going to be a big task tonight. Quiet the past couple games after double digits in scoring against Montreal. Samuel to the rack. Can't get it to fall. Dunmartin pushing the pace. Bediako gets it inside. Too easy. Beautiful bounce pass from Tavian.
When these two teams met each other in Kelowna, this was one of the matchups that we didn't get to see. Jaden Bediako was not dressed for that game. And so now all of a sudden you start recognizing big versus big. Tyrese Samuel has to find a way to score, moving a little bit more because Bediako isn't going to go for those moves.
Tonight's officials, crew chief Wasim Husseini, joined by Andre Babbage and EJ Link. Here's Joyner. Working it, gets space. Passed off to Samuel. Off a leg, turnover. Here come the Mamba. Last touch by Tavian. Vancouver recovers. Little jitters from either squad about 90 seconds in, and you'd expect as much right around the corner from the playoffs. Every game matters.
Coach didn't love that out of bounds call. There's been a little bit of a warning call for him as well. So playoff basketball, I guess, we're a minute and a half into this game and benches are getting warnings already. So the heat is turned on up in here.
Eddy, quick trigger. He can hit that. He does so. Such a promising start. When Jarrell hits the first, the basket just opens up.
Similar to what we've seen with Miller Kopp getting things going, with Mulder getting things going, seeing that first outside shot goes in, it feels like the whole team just takes a collective breath.
Eddy commits the foul on the reach. Bediako, you already talked about his impact. Wasn't there in Kelowna. That was a massive win for Vancouver, but already coming in tonight, rolling nicely with Tavian, gets to the free throw line. Oh, no, on the ground, excuse me. That's going to go against Pandy.
We've always been interested to see which matchup Pandy starts off with. Primary defender, Chaplin just gets tied up a little bit. With 3 officials, someone's going to see that.
2024 CEBL Defensive Player of the Year, Lloyd Pandy. Tonight's game, a Western Conference tilt to the Western Conference, presented by Cal Tire. Our dear friends offering tire and brake services. Here's Bediako. Leaves it for Tavian Dunmartin. Deep 3 in the corner. He gets it to fall. If there's one man who can hit a shot from anywhere, it's Tavian Dunmartin. And so can Jarrell Eddy. He does, responding in kind. Six points for Eddy.
Anything you can do, I can do better. We talked about these 3-point shots, and the Bandits have struggled early oftentimes to score when the shots are not dropping. Great to see some of their shots, but TDM, you can't leave him open.
Tevin Brown, heat check for Vancouver, raining from deep. Up 6. No Jamal Fuller tonight. Chaplin looking to fill in on the scoring load. That's a turnover. Pandy pushing the pace. Dunmartin stops in transition. That's going to be sidelined out of bounds. Here's Brown, has space. Tevin Brown lost it, regained by Samuel. Outside, time, space for Jarkel Joyner. Can't finish. Dunmartin right to the rack, shifty. Great finish from Dunmartin.
That's one of those defensive rotations where Samuel has to stay with Bediako on that rim attack, really can't slide to step in and help, and so some of these matchups are going to have to be handled a bit better.
Tevin Brown says, hey Terrell, I'm playing catch up. You got two, I got two from deep as well.
He has played the late game hero multiple times for these Bandits this season, and so great to see him get going early, not having to play late game heroics, unless, of course, Bediako has something to say about it.
With force, Jaden Bediako, that pick and roll just carving up the Vancouver defense. And there's going to be a moving screen. Tyrese got the timing mismatched with Jarkel Joyner. And we have James Karnick and Shamar Gibbons checking in. Hey fans, scan the QR code for your chance to win the ultimate CEBL Finals trip, courtesy of redtag.ca. You can score round-trip flights, a 2-night hotel stay, and courtside seats to the CEBL Finals. Visit cebl.ca/redtag for more details. Great prize pack. Dunmartin, high off glass, bounces around, regained by Bediako, takes contact, still fighting for it. Last touch by the Mamba. You can already see the presence of a 7-footer in Bediako.
Well, you look at the two matchups that came onto the floor, Shamar Givinson for Jarkel Joyner, and then Samuel steps off the floor with Karnick coming in, and two maybe slightly defensively minded a little bit more in terms of the ability to make adjustments quickly.
Fighting for it was Karnick. That's the first miss of the night for Jarrell Eddy. Couple substitutions for the Mamba. Jaden Clayton checking in, as well as Jalen Williams, longtime G League alum, big double-digit scorer for this Mamba group.
With Clayton coming on the floor as well, going a little bit smaller here for the Mamba, so it'll be interesting to see with this double big lineup coming in, likely with Dom Perlin stepping on the floor shortly.
Shamar gets the steal against Dunmartin, pushing the pace, steps back. Can't hit the three in transition. Tapped out. Mamba recover. Here's Bandu. Great defense from Eddy. Shamar halfway through this first quarter. Swings it to Brown. He's got two. He's got three, folks. Tevin Brown, unconscious from deep. Williams, lefty push shot. It falls. Coach Rance imploring his team to push the pace. He wants to run and gun. Brown, that's too much space. He's going to head to the free throw line. Bandu commits the foul on the closeout, and we have Dom Perlin checking in. Vancouver up 6. 4:32 left in the first quarter. Don't go anywhere. You're watching CEBL basketball live on YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus. Welcome back to the always raucous LEC. Tevin Brown putting on a clinic here early, Cheryl. Already out to a game-high 9 points, doing it exclusively from the land beyond.
He talked about the style of play that Coach Rands was imploring his team to play a little bit fast. That goes into exactly what Brown wants to do. And all of those threes, for the most part, have been push, transition, not even kicks, just swing the ball quickly and get him some open scoring looks. So good timing on his part. If the Mamba starts slowing that down, it's going to be an important part of their adjustment.
Mike Mulder prepares to check in. His first action tonight. Brown at the free throw line for 3 shots. Foul committed by Bandu. Hits the first. River fans, if you're not familiar, this lineup, the double big lineup that Coach Rands was talking about pregame, Parolin and Karnik, sometimes Samuel as well. But the BC double big lineup, and Dom Parolin from Coquitlam and James Karnik from Surrey, a big part of the reason Vancouver won on the road against Winnipeg, as Brown misses that last one, but he gets the layup and he's swatted aside. But back to that rebounding narrative, out-rebounding Winnipeg, 50-28 on the road. That was a huge stat and helped Vancouver reclaim first in the West.
Pursuing the basketball, something that we noticed, Parolin getting to the boards, Samuel getting to the boards, but Karnik really comes in and attacks the rebound, and it's something that Dom Parolin is learning from. You see how much his growth as a player has come just from playing someone who has been into the game ahead of him a little bit. As we see again, just that inside presence, looking to post up, and it just slows the game down for the other team. If you want the game to stop, the best place to do this is when you're shooting free throws. And the Bandits, you know, with Mitch Creek not in the lineup, you know, we saw this earlier in the season. Who's the one now who's going to establish getting to the free throw line? And for Karnik, a great way to do that is off the rebound.
Karnik hits the first. And not only does it slow the game down, it wears the opposition down as well. We saw that against Winnipeg. Jeremiah Tillman fouling out. A big part of that was not just the guards the attacking, but also Parolin and Karnik getting to the free throw line as he hits them both. Up 10, Vancouver. Here's Clayton. Here's the switch. Inside to Williams. There's the mismatch. He likes that matchup. Throws it up. Second lefty hook from Jalen Williams.
First one over Pandy, second one, and again, that's that small guard. We see John Knight III also stepping onto the floor here for the Bandits. And again, trying to figure out how to manage that. Do they want to leave that in isolation? Do they feel like that's a scoring look that they can live with? As long as you don't pick up a foul and give up a three-point play, is that the worst thing possible? So it'll be interesting to see if the Bandits make that adjustment on that small guard post-up.
Givens from the corner. Doesn't fall. Fighting for it was Parolin, but picked up by Monsanto. Tied a career high with 26 the other night. Hit a flurry of trays. Last touch by the Mamba. That pass couldn't find its way to Bediako.
Chaplin could have explored that a little bit deeper. I think he was hoping to get something a little bit earlier in that pick and roll rotation, but definitely someone who can score himself. So coach might be imploring them, hey, we have a few turnovers already. We don't need that extra pass. Just go to the rim, get to the free throw line themselves.
John Knight III checked into the game, going to the hoop. John Knight III, acrobatic, can't finish. Clayton pushing the tempo. Monsanto doesn't fall. Givens up to Knight III, to the corner. Mulder, great space, sidestep. Mike Mulder, he hits his first of the night. It's raining threes on a Saturday evening. A late whistle there. EJ Link with the call. Reaching in was Givens.
Givens worked really hard to establish that post up quite a bit higher than the previous one, but unfortunately as he tried to reach around and steal that, picked up the foul.
So we get a replay here. A lot of contact from Givens. Foul might have been before the catch. They're going to call it. Bediako. Williams. Monsanto missed the last three. He's going to rise. Fire. Doesn't go.
Those are shots that he can make, and again, for someone who hasn't played the Bandits before, he might have to figure out kind of what the recipe is for the timing that he needs to catch and shoot those. But you know it's going to get going
3 passes up the court. Coach Rand sensing a little bit of danger here. He says we can calm it down. Back within single digits. Mamba cutting this deficit to 9. 3 passes and a 2-handed slam for Williams. Isaiah Fox hoping his group can get back in this one. Cal Tire this year is a proud partner and tire expert of the CEBL. Shop top tire brands and have peace of mind with Cal Tire's price match guarantee. Shop and book at caltire.com. 2:31 left in the first quarter. It's been a fast-paced game so far, Cheryl, going by in a blur. Bandits pushing that pace. We've seen a few in and outs of the lineup, but right now it's the three-point shooting, 6 of 10, that's really fueled Vancouver to get out to this lead.
And it's not just one player. We saw Brown take off early. Mulder knocks down that last one. And again, those are the guys that need to knock down those shots. We were talking about this pregame in terms of what's your point of emphasis offensively as you start heading into the end of the season, and you may not be exploring what your scoring looks are at this point of the season. Now it's about, you know what you're supposed to do, now just get it done. So Mulder knocks it down. Brown knocks it down. We're seeing Jarkel Joyner, he got that corner 3 earlier in the game. That's a shot that he had a lot of time to catch and shoot. That's probably the shot that you want him to take as well, especially when they go double bigs. You have 2 very effective offensive rebounders on the floor. So right now, the challenge for the Bandits, at 4 fouls right now, the next foul will send the Mamba to the free throw line for the bonus, and so that's not necessarily how they want the last 2.5 minutes to go either. If you want to play fast, you've got to play clean.
One of your CDIC keys to the game was the prolific three-point shooting of these Mamba, but 12 of their 15 points all coming in the paint.
Sometimes you got to establish inside before you can execute on the outside, and again, 1 more offensive rebound for Karnik.
Karnik, he likes that 3. You can see temptation in his eyes. Gonna duck into the middle. Parolin, spin move, creates some space, goes to the left, swatted aside. One of the best rotational defenders, Jaden Bediako, pleading his case. We're gonna get the call here, but Parolin, late clock, gets to the free throw line. Bediako's first as Samuel prepares to check back in. Karnik's gonna get a breather.
Bediako wisely trying to encourage the refs to see perhaps Townsend picking up that foul, in part because of how important it's going to be for him to stay on the floor today.
You can hear that, boys. That's Coach Isaiah Fox encouraging his young big man, Jaden Bediako. And right around the corner as Parolin goes 2 for 2, we have the Bandits debut for the first ever NBA draft pick to suit up for the Orange and Navy. Steven Zimmerman coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada, UNLV product, 2nd round, 41st overall, courtesy of the Orlando Magic. Welcome to LEC. Townsend driving, gets to the cup, passes off. Here's a push from Bediako, left it short. And onto the stat sheet quickly. Early rebound for Zimmerman. Up top, too high for Mulder. He's got hops, but that was a little bit too elevated. From deep, Bediako right over the top of Mulder. Spills out, fighting for it. Mulder rips it from Williams. Great fight underneath the hoop. Knight the 3rd. Turnover. Little sloppy from Vancouver the past few possessions in transition. Zimmerman's going to get called for the reach. That's going to push things into the bonus. Lackadaisical, a little bit unorchestrated on offense. Few turnovers in the Mamba. Chance to get back to single digits.
John Knight III picks up that foul on the strip. And again, minute 15, minute 13 left in this quarter. Dunmartin about to step back onto the floor, so you know that the game's about to get faster when he steps back onto the floor.
Williams misses the first. Fans, the old tradition from A&W, 2 missed free throws equals free sandwiches. No one's going to be hungry tonight. 0 for 2 from Jalen Williams. Joyner back into the ball game. Lots of size on the floor for Vancouver. Knight the third, bounced, baseline jumper. Jimmy doesn't fall for Zimmerman, his first field goal attempt as a Bandit. Clayton gets around Zimmerman, creates space, gets right to the cup. Travel. Vancouver getting lucky here, haven't been able to convert on offense, but a few turnovers and missed opportunities from the Mamba still has them down 11.
If you're the Mamba, you're not necessarily upset with how you've been playing. Maybe you're upset with just the fact that some of these shots are not dropping, but you know, to be down single digits with some of the flame-throwing threes that the Bandits have hit early in this game, now they just have to be able to get one or two defensive plays here, get the game back into single digits.
Zimmerman from deep, too short. Gets his own board, goes right to the cup, and he's on the board. They always say the one person in the building who knows where the shot's going, it's the shooter. Hustle to get that O board. Clayton to the cup. Another travel, back-to-back travels from Clayton, and Vancouver gonna have the last shot here, up 13.
Trying to do a little bit too much there with the possession. You can kind of see what he's trying to establish. It's just sometimes you might just want to keep your dribble alive just for one step longer to be able to extend. But again, you're going into the trees there with Zimmerman and Tyrese Samuel waiting your move. So
Joyner pulls up. This side rim, saved by Zimmerman, and the corner three for John Knight III. He hits it! John Knight III delivers with yet another buzzer beater, and Vancouver is going to take a 16-point lead heading into the second quarter. Great start to this home tilt versus the Mamba. Don't go anywhere, folks. You're watching CEBL action live on YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
Let's bring it on. It's game time. It's showtime. Oh, and it goes. Nick Hornby. Here's Oakland for the win.
You gotta love a Canadian news.
Two hands. Me. Oh, what a block from behind.
Welcome back to the Envision Financial Court. Had the chance to speak with the Vancouver Bandits' newest signing, the big man, Steven Zimmerman, before his making his debut for the Bandits. He had a nice little layup to in the first quarter. What a whirlwind week it has been for Zimmerman. He wins a championship in the Dominican Republic, and a day later, he has a conversation with the Bandits. He signs, he travels to Las Vegas, his home, and then last night, arrives here on the West Coast and makes his debut. So the biggest battle for him, he says he wants to bring defense and rebounding to this team. He's just hoping he can get over a bit of jet lag. We'll send it back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks so much, Kevin. A whirlwind indeed. Off a plane and into the fray of the action. 2 points, 4 boards for Zimmerman already, assisting on the John Knight III buzzer beater as Tyrese keeps it alive for Pandy. Up court to Tevin Brown, finishes it off. Indeed, no, he doesn't. Just left it a little bit too strong.
You know, we've seen some unfortunate finishes, unfinished business for Tevian Brown, but normally it results in him getting it back in some other fashion. So,
but you like the hustle from Vancouver, creating possessions and opportunities. Here's Eddie. Over to Brown. Inside to Samuel, deep post position. And that's going to get called back.
3 seconds in the key there. Really good post positioning for both Bediako and Samuel. It's been a little bit close on both ends, but you know, this is the matchup that we wanted to see. Some of the best bigs in the CBL going up against each other.
Here's Bandu. Monsanto checks out. Williams checks back in. Bandu trying to put Brown on skates. Gets to the cup. Tough fader. Gets the roll. A little bit of backspin. Mamba on the board in the second quarter.
Attacking that middle of the key. Worked early for the Mamba. Went away from it. Some turnovers. 6 turnovers in that first quarter for them. I think there's that little soft spot that they can find some isolation matchups for. So we'll see if they keep going back to some of those scoring looks.
Quick trigger. Jarrell Eddy. What is he drinking, folks, on that bench? Comes right back in, hits his third 3.
Good signs for him. Went scoreless in the previous game, and again, in the starting lineup, staff still have confidence in what he can do with that 6'7" frame. They really like that long swingman type of position. He can play in the forward position if he has to. Some of those defensive rotations are a little bit more functional that way.
And that's been Eddie's calling card throughout his career. Of course, started in the NBA, but he is a quick trigger sniper. You know who else is? Devontae Bandu.
Scored the last few points here. 2 possessions back-to-back. Inside, outside, going to work.
Jarkel, high. Tyrese trying to get it, but Bediako alters the shot. Goes down hard. Bediako favoring his knee. That's a charge, but Bediako needs some help on the other end. He's in pain. I don't know if the Mamba recognize it yet. But Bediako laboring, getting up under his own power. Looks like he's going to be all right. Might have been an inadvertent limb. He says he can stay in. Looks like he's going to be okay as Pandy takes a breather. Charge on the other end against the Mamba, down 14. Samuel goes right back at Bediako. Too strong off glass. And this has been a tough matchup all year for Tyrese Samuel. Anytime he faces Jaden Bediako, played him on the road, he's going to give him everything he can and more. Couple of minutes gone so far here in the second quarter. All 5 of Saskatoon's points coming courtesy of Devontae Bandu. Officials talking things over. Get a little bit of clarity in the second. New Era this year is the exclusive game uniform partner of the CEBL and all 10 of its teams from coast to coast. Pick up your official replica jerseys today by visiting CEBL.ca. Cheryl, did you pick up what they were saying?
Yeah, so right now with the CBL rules, you have to have a certain number of, you can only have a certain number of imports on the floor right now. They're looking at their matchups and realizing that they have too many imports. So they're trying to figure out right now what the situation is.
Tyrese, the lone Canadian out there for Vancouver. That's a free throw for the Mamba.
So they must have adopted someone, assuming, you know, Devin Brown, are you Canadian? What's going on here? So that results in a technical foul.
Kept alive by Williams. Driving with pace on Samuel. Pulls back. That's a tough shot. Jalen Williams managed to avoid the travel and cans it. Down 11. Joyner. To Samuel. Kept alive by the Mamba. Kareem Manet checks in. Dunmartin, extra pass. Williams from the corner. Doesn't go. Brown the rebound. Joyner wants to swing. Finds Eddie. Doesn't go off pass. Vancouver only 3 points this quarter. Suffocating D from the Mamba. Dunmartin to Manet. Maryland gets it. Manet fighting for it. It's going to be a jump ball. Possession favors Vancouver as Gibbons ready to come in, and this is a great substitution from Coach Rands. The ball a little bit stuck on offense right now for Vancouver. Empty possessions.
Well, if you think about it, three points. You've given up 8. You've had a technical foul for not having the right lineup on the floor. Just not a smooth start to this quarter for the Bandits. The Mamba able to make a few adjustments themselves.
Givens. Up high, down hard. Tyrese Samuel finishes the alley-oop. Instant impact, Shamar Givens.
Just does such a great job of getting into the key, keeping his dribble alive. Sometimes you don't need to play with speed. You just have to give your big time to get to the right spot.
Townsend rising, the reach from Tevin Brown. Trey Townsend going to head to the free throw line. Vancouver was up 16 after the first quarter. But it's been all Mamba here in the second as Jameer Chaplin prepares to check back in. Tavian Dunmartin to the bench. You see Brown, the reach on the rise and fire. Townsend misses the first. It's the second. Trey Townsend splits a pair. Givens. Brown. Corner Trey doesn't go. Here's Kareem Manet, former Saget product. Leaves it to Williams. Clayton has the mismatch. He's got speed. Brown fights for it, taps it out of bounds. And this is the type of defense Vancouver are willing to play. They can go undersized, they can go big, but it's going to require guards like Brown and Givens to fight for every inch on the block.
Well, just like we talked about the matchups that the guards have to manage inside the key, the bigs have to manage those three-point switches as well. Don Perlin on that end
Great
manages that
fake.
matchup well.
Blocked, swatted aside by the wall of Vancouver. Givens to the cup. Floater left it short. Karnik gets the board. Power dribble. James Karnik blocked from behind by Trey Townsend. They're ruling last touch by the Bandits. Karnik showing us the TV symbol. We don't have that capability.
Not in regular season this season, so.
Great rotational defense by Townsend. Easton Tim checks in for his first minutes of the night. Current member of the Saskatchewan Huskies, Mulder, just bowls right over Chaplin.
Mulder may have some concerns about the extracurricular acting there after the contact there, but you know, a few seasons ago when they started really talking about the flop, like really selling the call, thought it cleaned up the game quite a bit. We have little moments every once in a while where you're like, well, that may have been excessive. You got the call.
Brown on Williams. Givens is there. Chaplin, there's time and space. Jameer Chaplin. That's more than enough room for the sniper.
Well, and Givens again on that switch. We've seen him struggle with the switch on the baseline side of things. On that one, the taller perimeter shooters, it doesn't take much to be able to shoot over him, so he really has to close that gap a lot tighter.
Givens to the basket, draws the foul. You can see him look off the Karnik screen, change of direction, goes to his left. Nice decision.
Shifty guard, knows how to use his eyes to get looks from different players and different defenders, and so you know, this obviously is a much tighter quarter than we saw. Both teams pushing back quite a bit defensively. The physicality has gone up a little bit.
And Karnik playing with a stuffed Kleenex in the nose. He says, don't judge the aesthetics, I just want to hoop. Givens hits the first.
What, you mean this?
Might have to trim that Kleenex a bit, but so he can keep reusing it. Doesn't have to sub off.
Just finds different angles of it to stick in his nose at some point in time.
Tough customer. Givens converts. Picking up full court on Jaden Clayton. Vancouver holding on to a slim 11-point lead. Mamba very much still in this one. Inside to Tim. Great little up and under. Easton Tim.
Karnik with the hard slide down on that defensive rotation. Tim does a great job of just making
Up top,
his
James Karnik, the Surrey kid, throwing it down. Isaiah Fox has had enough. Calls a timeout. And the Mamba were pressing, but Vancouver back up 11. 4:40 left in the second quarter. Don't change that channel. You're watching CEBL action live on CBC Gem, CEBL Plus, and YouTube. Welcome back inside Envision Financial Court. The Mamba had reduced things to single digits halfway through the second quarter, but Shamar Givens and James Karnik working the two-man game. A vicious two-handed slam elicits a quick timeout from Mamba head coach Isaiah Fox. Wants to chat things over.
Well, for the Mamba, one of the things that they've been able to establish is multiple scorers, so it's not necessarily someone taking over the game. Jalen Williams with 8 points to lead the Mamba, but Easton Timms gets to the rim. Chaplin knocks down a shot. Jaden Bediako has been able to find one or two scoring looks, but again, it's more about the collective for them. Down by 11 here with 4:40 left in the second quarter, and that time might just be to talk through some of these scoring looks that they're trying to establish with this lineup.
Up top, Chaplin. Great play. Givens couldn't catch up around the curl screen.
Well, one thing they've recognized is that typically the Bandits have been switching a lot of those screens, and now with the small guard, we saw this both with Joyner and with Shamar Givens. They're not switching, they're keeping that one matchup, and so go to that back screen, alley-oop, easy finish for Chaplin. Great read defensively from the Mamba.
Karnik, Kleenex and all with the catch to Givens. Karnik rolling. Turnover from Givens. Townsend, one-on-one. Leaves it for Williams. Power dribble, too strong. Tapped out, Vancouver regains possession. Less than 4 left in the second quarter. Joyner and John Knight III prepare to check back in. Givens, pull up. Doesn't go. Here's Chaplin. Bit of space for Jameer. To the cup, he gets it to go. All of a sudden, Jameer Chaplin getting hot. Down 7. This lead starting to trim for Vancouver. Givens, 9 to work. Has the mismatch on Tim with speed, kicks out. Mulder, extra pass, Tevin Brown from 3, hits the corner tray.
Much needed offensive shot for the Bandits. With the Mamba, they're just these little details that they've adjusted to. Attacking to the middle of the rim against the bigs really takes away the shot block.
Jameer Chaplin going to get to the line for an and-one opportunity. The hesitation and the fake on Dom Perlin. Banks it in. Chaplin coming in, averaging right around 15 points. All 7 of his points coming exclusively in the second quarter. A huge reason why the Mamba have gotten as close as they have.
Well, with the move, again, he keeps his driving lane straight down to the rim, so it really doesn't allow the help side defender to really play a big role in it. So doing a great job of attacking and maintaining that one-on-one matchup.
Still within striking distance, down 7 points. Joyner in for Givens. Parolin open from 3. He can hit it. Monsanto's back in as well. Clayton, blow by. Doesn't put it up. Has Parolin in the spin cycle. That's a steal for Vancouver with numbers. Tim coming back. Mulder right to the hoop and slams it. Mike Mulder just stuffed it on Jalen Williams. Right on the head top.
Letting everybody know the alley-oop that he missed wasn't a mistake.
Can Vancouver capitalize on the momentum from a thunderous slam? Joyner, right to the cup. Karnik fighting for it, puts it back up. That was off glass, goaltending. And Vancouver with a great response. We're going to have to watch that one back as Mike Mulder absolutely posterizes Jalen Williams. Woo! Someone turn on the bunnies at LEC.
Such a quick little step there, and again, I think Chaplin was thinking that he had time. He was going to lay it in off the glass on that one. Left no mistake on his finish.
And although Joyner doesn't finish that basket, when he's aggressive, it allows those offensive rebounds to stack up as it just did there for Karnik. Here's Monsanto. Misses another 3. Karnik with another board. Pushing it. Karnik. Clear the runway. Mike Mulder, fresh off a poster, hits the 3. It's Mike Mulder's world, folks. We're just living in it. Switch, Karnik on Dunmartin. Dunmartin right to the rack, swings it around, extra pass, Chaplin. He cans it.
Great ball movement. Monsanto hasn't been able to find his scoring touch yet, but why not find the hot hand?
Extra pass to Karnik. Too strong off glass. Thought about throwing it down, kind of did a soaring hook, doesn't fall. Great defense from Knight to third, preventing a Chaplin layup. Vancouver fluttering with a double-digit lead right around 11 as Zimmerman going to come in for Parolin, who gets a breather.
Well, for the Mamba, they have to recognize that one of their advantages when the Bandits go to this 2-big lineup is breaking up the floor. It's going to be a numbers advantage until one of those bigs gets down there. So not able to capitalize on the last deflection went out of bounds. They still have possession, but they're going to have to keep running when they see those 2 bigs.
And look at the energy from Tevin Brown. Wants to give Mike Mulder a dap up. And it's a great time to remind you, you have to follow the CEBL on social at CEB League on all social platforms to stay up to date on stats, storylines, and much more for all 10 of its teams in Canada's Pro Basketball League. You can be certain that Mulder poster is going to be on social probably in minutes, if not already.
We're seeing these big plays by the Bandits. We've seen a few thunderous dunks, some big threes, and then you look up at the score and you're wondering, can you create more of a separation? We've seen this in the past where, 2 or 3 minutes then of some lackluster offensive play, and so it's just about trying to stay a little bit more consistency in finding offense. And so, we've seen the Bandits kind of, and again, Coach Rance talked about this at the beginning of the game. When you have and you plug in someone new, you have to progressively find a way to get them in, and we see Zimmerman coming back onto the floor. But it also throws off some rotations for some other players. Maybe that means sitting on the bench a little bit longer than they naturally would. So they need to figure this out. Every lineup that they have has its strengths, but the weaknesses become apparent, and every opponent within the Western Conference has revealed a few of those things. Their losses to Calgary, their big loss to Winnipeg. This 2-big lineup can be effective. There's different ways of attacking it. It's not necessarily Jaden Bediako one-on-one on the low block.
Vancouver, their shooting percentage has dipped to 40, well below the 48.5 for the Mamba, but it's a blistering 10 of 19 from deep that's helped them build this lead. As Joyner, we have a sprint to the cup as Jarkel Joyner right to the rack. Spider-Man put it on the wheels. Vancouver up 13. Dunmartin. Thought about the extra pass. There it is to Monsanto. His first 3 of the night at LEC. Don't let that man get going.
And for the Mamba, despite the fact that that's the first one that he's hit, you're hoping that that is a good sign for the second half.
Joyner doesn't get the pull-up. 10-point lead for Vancouver. Bandu Ran him off the line. Zimmerman, the contest. Rebound right to Bandu. No one was there as Karnik had to seal Bediako. Not enough time for a 2-for-1. About 4.8 seconds separating game clock and shot clock. Vancouver would love to get this lead back to 10 and then get a stop on the other side. Dunmartin with a defensive assignment. 10 on the clock. Here comes the screen. Joyner goes right into the teeth of the defense. John Knight III pulls up, doesn't fall. Tapped around by Davian Dunmartin, throws up a prayer. Doesn't fall at Vancouver. To head into the break, up 8, the lead as large as 16. The Mamba win the quarter by 8. We've had highlights, we've had threes, but this Mamba group showing exactly why they're coming in winners of 3 straight, putting up a fight.
The game's not over yet, and again, a good first quarter for the Bandits, a little bit slow. It's not like we haven't seen that before this season, where there's typically one quarter where the rhythm just seems a little bit off, or they take their foot off the pedal. So we know that the third quarter can be potent for the Bandits. So it'll be interesting to see, not just, we see the lineups, we see the adjustments, we see the 2 big lineup, but it's about what happens when you get into some of those offensive lulls.
As we're gonna throw it over to Kevin Chirac on the sideline, joined now by Mike Mulder, who threw down a vicious slam. Over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, and let's talk about that vicious slam. Such a highlight of the first half. Talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, that was just one of those situations where we turned defense into offense. John did a good job running, so the guy had to come trail, obviously, and yeah, I just wanted to finish it. But like I said, we've been trying to preach that all year, is turning defense into offense, and I think that was a good example of it.
And then you followed it up with a big 3, and this Saskatoon team, they really had an answer in that second half. They started to chip away. What do you need to do to slow them down in the second half?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to, on the defensive end, we need to get back to what we were doing in the first quarter. I think we held them to 15. I was telling Jarkel, I was like, I want to hold them to 30 points in the half, and I look up, there's 44, so that's too many. I think we'll come out with some intensity in the third, and we'll start from there.
But you're on your end offensively, you guys seem to be working. You got 52 in the first half, 3 ball seems to be working. What's working for the team?
Yeah, we're shooting the ball well, we're trusting each other, we're moving it, and we're executing well. I think that's really what it is. You know, being able to execute at that pace as well. It's getting guys open, and we're finding open shots and knocking them down.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for that. All right, guys, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Looking to regain their defensive form. The message is clear from Mike Mulder. And coming up at the half, we have a CEBL feature with Bandit Miller Kopp behind the scenes with Miller. And Kevin's going to interview Mamba head coach Isaiah Fox. We'll have first half stats, and we will revisit Cheryl's players to watch. Lots more right after the jump. You're watching the CEBL on YouTube, CEBL Plus, and CBC Gem.
My name is Miller Kopp. I am 27 years old from Houston, Texas. I play for the Vancouver Bandits. The reason I started posting even on social media in terms of basketball and my journey was not basketball at all, actually. It was because I just wanted to make some funny videos. I didn't have any direction really besides making stuff that I thought was funny with me and my teammates at the time. And from there, it morphed and grew into connecting with a lot of basketball players and giving advice and sharing lessons that I learned throughout the years. That's been really cool to see. So I continue to post depending on, you know, what I'm doing and what I'm learning, and yeah, it's been cool.
You know, last year I was used to playing against Tiddlywinks, and so now it's a different level. It's a different level of ball. So,
well, when I was in college, I thought something was kind of funny. I had this idea in my head where it was me and one of my teammates after a game doing a press conference, and we had won the game, and it was great. And vibes were high, and we were feeling good. And me and him went up there, and I was a senior, and he was a freshman. And I was kind of just wanting to not mess with him, but give him a little fun game to play, him and I. And so I said, hey man, you got to get this word, use this word in the interview, throughout the interview. And I had one for myself, and his was marinate. And, oh no, his was banana, and mine was marinate. And so we had to use those words in the interview and just naturally just try to intertwine them in there. You know, you put the work in, and sometimes it doesn't show, you know, right when you want it to. It's like, you know, marinating chicken. And so I made a video of like the behind the scenes of that, and I was like, hey bro, this is your word for the interview. Like, this is mine, we gotta get it in there. And so I filmed the whole thing from like holding my phone under the desk. And that went like mega viral. It was hilarious, and it got like millions of views. And so it became like a trend, and I realized that like people wanna see the behind the scenes of the interview, or they wanna see the behind the scenes of like the real player, not just on the court. And it became a thing that other teams were doing it, other players and content creators. And before the games at Indiana, I'd be warming up in like layup lines, and fans would be screaming, what's the word for today? What's the word for today? And I ended up having to stop it because it was like a distraction in a sense, because people were so worried about, or not worried about, but they were so interested into like, what was the word for the day after the game? And so that kind of woke me up in terms of realizing that, man, people just, they want to see the behind the scenes of the human level of these athletes and basketball players. And so that was a big moment for me.
Well, they call it the dog days of summer. I didn't know we'd get it quite literally here at LEC, but you know what? It's a playoff race, and that's the type of tempo you'd expect the Bandits to be playing at. Rands wants them to push it, but as we get ready to take a look back at the halftime highlights from the first, we saw dunks, we saw blistering threes, a lot of points in the paint from the Mamba. They were down 16, Cheryl, but they're right back in it.
Well, if you think about the little details, adjustments to how your team is being defended, the Mamba have done a great job of going to what's being given. So some outside shots not dropping early in that game. Monsanto finally hitting his first three in the corner towards the end of the first half. But with the Bandits, it's a lot of exploring offensive, making the right adjustments, seeing what defense is giving in return. 11 turnovers for the Mamba, so that's a key factor. If they can clean things up a little bit and get a few more possessions, that's going to be huge. But you're going to have to find a way to manage those two big lineups, and not just manage it, but attack it.
For Vancouver, winning the bench points by +10. In comes Mike Mulder and had a big spark in that first half.
Who's going to be the next man up? We've heard this from the Bandits throughout their entire time, and we hear this from a lot of teams, is just making sure that the next player is ready to go, next man up. We've seen players, we talked about this earlier, Jarrell Eddy going scoreless in his previous game, 9 points now heading into the second half. So, you know, learning how to recover. Coach Rands in his post-game interview from the previous game talked about the resilience of this team. And resilience for players going from not really finding your scoring touch in one game to coming in and knocking down some big shots, knowing that it's just one game, one situation, trying to find your way through that. So obviously both teams, we talked about this, it's not necessarily even about resilience at this point. The desire to get into the playoffs is pretty huge for both of these teams. The Bandits want to host, and if we look at the Mamba, they want to get in. So 52-44 halftime score. Again, in the field, Mamba doing some good things inside the key. 3 points, lights out for the Bandits right now. We haven't seen a ton of free throw situations that the Mamba have been able to take advantage of. And so it's going to be interesting to see which aspects of this game both teams try to convert a little bit more of in the second half.
This Mamba group, not the same team that you saw struggle out of the gate. They're coming in on a 3-game winning streak, and they're firing for head coach Isaiah Fox, who we'll be chatting with shortly as he'll join our sideline reporter, Kevin, right after the break. You're watching CEBL Action live on CBC Gem, YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
Fox, Isaiah, you guys struggled for much of that first half, trailed by double digits, as many as 16 in the first quarter, but you chipped away. What was your message to the team at halftime?
I'm slightly encouraged that we're only down 8. We've been here before with Vancouver where they get to an early start and we've been down as much as 20 or 15 at the half. I thought we did show some resilience getting back into the basketball game, but our assist-to-turnover ratio isn't quite there where we want it to be. And we got to guard the three-point line much better. They're shooting over 50% from 3 right now. We got to get out and get a hand up.
Yeah, over 50% from 3. They seem pretty comfortable from there. What do you have to do to really slow them down, especially their guards?
Well, we got to be better on ball so those passes aren't so easy, and then we got to fly out and get a high hand on these contests. We know they got some good shooters out there. I just don't think our urgency with the closeout have been there.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Head coach Isaiah Fox imploring his team to seal things down on the three-point line. And he'd also love his team to hit a few more three-point shots as well. Cheryl, one of your three-point snipers was Damari Monsanto. Only hit 1 in the first half. As we revisit him as one of your players to watch, what do you see from him so far?
Well, he did create a scoring look for somebody else, finding ways to contribute to the game. That corner 3, if you're the Mamba, you're hoping that corner 3 is something that's coming. a continuation of. We see Karnik here with the dunk for the Bandits as our player to watch. His ability to establish what that inside power move, and again, that's not necessarily something that they've been sending to Dom, for instance, and Tyrese, obviously, we know what he can do in transition. It's just one more threat. So right now, sometimes it's the battle of the role players. You have your starters, you have your main scorers that are often canceling each other out. Who's that next player that's going to step up? And, you know, as much as we don't necessarily have a ton of points coming from Monsanto, we also have a lot of players. Chaplin with 13, Williams with 8. TDM, he's scored 6. Bandu, he's had 7. So you're just having a lot of different contributions, meaning every defensive rotation is going to matter.
And Coach mentioned in that interview the assist-to-turnover ratio not where they'd like it to be. 12 assists, 11 turnovers. They need to clean that up in the second half.
10 for 19. The Bandits are shooting 50, almost 53% in the first half. So they've gone the looks that they've had. Tevin Brown, 4 for 5. Michael Mulder, 2 for 3. Eddie, 3 for 4. You know, you've got some weapons there, and not just weapons, but weapons with length, their ability to catch and shoot. So the sense of urgency, a coach talked about Isaiah Fox mentioning those things. Where is that going to come from? Who's going to be that person that steps up and gets that going? Because if you can take away that three-point shot, you still have the inside presence. You still have the offensive rebounding. You still have to manage not letting them get to the free throw line. So you may be trying to solve one problem, but you're going to have to solve 2 or 3 very quickly shortly after that.
This Mamba group coming in winners of 3 straight, taking down Calgary, Edmonton, and the Brampton Honey Badgers on their path to the playoffs. And it's time for a Red Tag Path to the Playoffs update. Here's how the standings are shaping up right now. Your Eastern Conference presented by Lotto Max, and your Western Conference presented by Cal Tire. We can't say the word logjam enough. The Eastern Conference speaks for itself. 3 teams knotted at 9 and 12, but the Mamba leaping past the Edmonton Stingers in the standings. That still hasn't settled itself yet. We'll see where that nets out. But here come the Calgary Surge. What a second half of the Surge. And then at the top, Vancouver and the Bandits and the Sea Bears still fighting for it. It may come down to the last game of the season, August 2nd, when the Bandits host the Sea Bears here at LEC.
And for CEBL fans, every single one of these teams are going to get multiple opportunities to play the team that stands in their way of either hosting or making the playoffs. So I feel like we're getting some early playoff games, you know, within 2 or 3 weeks of it starting, simply because of the importance of those head-to-head matchups.
We were talking about it pregame, Cheryl. Obviously the CEBL in Season 8. Could this be the most competitive CEBL season to date? The talent level elevating and the level of competition evidenced by the standings and how close they are, clearly showing how tight these teams are from each other.
The number of talented players coming into the CEBL, we're seeing the growth. We mentioned this, we were chatting prior to Zimmerman being named to the roster, NBA draft picks, G League All-Stars champions, teams winning championships in their international leagues. Quite a few of them in this game, representatives watching and playing in FIBA tournaments with their national teams. We're seeing some great basketball players, great coaches, and a great second half to come.
Welcome to the second half here at Envision Financial Court. Here's Chaplin, great second quarter, looping pass for Townsend, time and space. He hits the tray, and the Mamba pedal to the metal.
Just like that, 5-point lead. As Coach Fox said, they can go down by a lot, they can go up by a lot. The Bandits are always dangerous, but the Mamba have been showing how much danger they can put in the other team's basket there.
Great defense from the Mamba, and here's Bandu. Tyree stuffed on his way to the cup. Bandu resets to Chaplin. Driving on Pandy. Quiet first half for Lloyd Pandy. Townsend just hit a 3. Now hits a tough little leaner. He gets it to go on the run. 5-0 run to start the second half for Trey Townsend. Mamba only down 3. Brown hopes to stop the bleeding. Tevin Brown. Back to Joyner. Pulls up on skates. Jarkel, a little short. A 3 will tie it. We'll be right back where we started. Bandu in the corner. There's the three they were looking for. Vancouver dodges the bullet. Tense moments at the LEC. It's all Mamba right now. Two-man game. Tevin Brown and Samuel. Nice screen, frees up Tevin. Just can't finish.
Falling short for a few of these mid-range shots. Bediako going to the rim in transition.
And Coach Rands doesn't like a single thing he's seen. It's a 1-point lead. 7-0 run to start the third quarter. We're going to go to a break, but it's all Mamba right now. You're watching CEBL action live on CBC Gem, CEBL Plus, and YouTube. Welcome back to third quarter action at Envision Financial Court. You missed the start of the second half. It's been a 7-0 run for these Mamba. Trey Townsend and Jaden Bediako getting after it. Coach Rands doesn't like what he sees, calls a timeout, and Kevin, you're right in the middle of that huddle. What did you hear from Coach Rands Brempong?
Well, Andrew, a lot of what I heard cannot be repeated on broadcast. Coach Rands not pleased with his team's effort, says they got to pick it up. And if you look at the score, they've really been outplayed since the first quarter. The big message was effort, effort, effort. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Everyone keeps talking about that first quarter defensive form. They won that quarter 31-15. They lost the second quarter 29-21. And now the scoring run for the Mamba continues. Pandy inside, the kick to Samuel. Air ball.
12-0 run for the Mamba that can be added to on this possession here.
Chance to take the lead. Deep two. Cardigan Parolin, the BC Bigs. Let it check back in. Eddie, quick trigger. Jarrell Eddie. He's pure from deep tonight, folks. The run killer.
Got things going in the first quarter. Finds his rhythm here. 2.5 minutes in the first basket for the Bandits.
Time and space for Tavian Dunn-Martin. More than enough room for the corner sniper. Back to a 1-point ball game. Eddie off the dribble. We rarely see that in his game. Kicks it back out. Joyner around Dunn-Martin to the cup. Jarkel gets right to the hoop. Blocked it, hit the glass first. Chaplin wants it back. Wasim Husseini saw it all the way, and Vancouver switches things up. The three-point defense has been tough. Jarkel works around the screen.
We'll see if this two-big lineup coming in is a little bit of a injection of energy. We know Karnak can bring the energy on the boards. Same thing with Dom. Tempo slow down here as well. It's probably not the pace that the Bandits want to play for.
Bediako, big rebound from Jaden. Townsend steps into it. Left it short. Here's the tempo push. Joyner. And there was a reach from Chaplin. Can be sidelined out of bounds. Hey, Vancouver fans, Bandits fans are bringing the energy every night, and you could be a part of it this season. Tickets are available by scanning the QR code or at thebandits.ca/tickets. We mentioned it earlier, Vancouver already clinched that playoff spot. Home court on the line here tonight. Only one more regular season home game next weekend, August 2nd, against the Sea Bears. But Vancouver wants more opportunities to play at LEC. Pandy to Karnik. Givens. 5 to work. Shamar, step back 3. Left it short. Fighting for it, but here's Bediako.
Mamba coming down a 2-3 zone in that last stretch. And we talked about how are they going to manage that 2 big lineup, going into a 2-3 zone, allowing a big defender like Bediako to stay in the charge circle. And again, settling for a 3. Are the right players taking the right shots right now? And for the Bandits, that might be something that they have to figure out in this third quarter, especially when you're going down, giving up a 12-point run, maintaining your lead, but not your comfort, that's for sure.
That's a travel. Great defense from Parolin. Kept Townsend in front of him the entire way. Defense is going to win you basketball games. When your offense is sputtering, it's going to start on that end of the court.
We'll see if this is, again, just a little bit of a momentum shifter. Shamar Givens comes onto the floor for Jarkel Joyner. Can play a little bit faster, but we'll see what the zone looks. Dom Parolin has proven fairly effective against the zone, holding his position, but also his ability to find the open shooters.
Parolin with the kick. Pandy pulls up from 3, only hits 15% this year. He says, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna hit this one. Scoreless until that shot was Lloyd Pandy. Townsend on Karnik, right to the cup. Too strong, here's Pandy, chance to push. Great defense in transition. Karnik has to keep up with Dunmartin, there's the pump. Spills out. Halfway through a tenacious third quarter, up top to Karnik with the catch on his back, goes right up, nothing Devontae Bandu can do about it.
Both teams playing with a little bit more urgency, as Coach Isaiah Fox mentioned. Where's the urgency on some of the closeouts, but it's also that sense of urgency on offense. Great stop to the quarter, but wanting to maintain it for more than just the first 4 minutes.
Bandu gonna head to the free throw line. Chance to chip back away. Basketball games, a game of runs, of course. Jalen Williams gonna come back in. The Mamba couldn't quite take the lead. Now find themselves back down 8.
Tevin Brown picking up that foul, only a second. Samuel stepping onto the floor, Karnik coming off. But again, a little bit of a sense of momentum, a little bit of a speed change. And again, these are always the questions that you're gonna have to ask yourself. If this is the lineup that starts the game well, can they start the second half well? And I wouldn't say that this lineup did a great job of getting things going, but they've kind of gone through a few of their rotations. We've seen all the bigs now step onto the floor. They're going through their second rotation of bigs with Samuel stepping back onto the floor.
Canadian trio of posts as Bandu splits a pair.
And again, will we see Zimmerman in the second half? Maybe it depends on the goal. Mulder having some really great moments there in the first half. Does he step back onto the floor?
Givens from deep. Back to a 10-point lead for Vancouver. The guards, Pandy and Givens, crucial 3-point baskets here in the third. Bediako and Samuel fighting. Great defense from Samuel. Givens on the run. Williams with the reach.
If you're Bediako, that should have been your highlight moment. Pass was just a little bit, again, you're not always necessarily thinking how high of a pass do you have to make when you have a 6'10" length like Tyrese Samuel challenging that little floater pass, but
out of sorts on the inbounds. Not the type of play you want to see from Coach Rand and co.
Taking the opportunities when they arise. Talked about it doesn't have to be pretty for the Mamba.
Tevin Brown says, doesn't matter if you can't find me on the last inbounds. I'm gonna create my own shot and cans it.
Doesn't have to be pretty, but that looks pretty. Nice stroke on that shot, Tevin Brown.
And look at the English off glass. Dunmartin doesn't take much, feels the contact, lets it go up. He's heading to the line for a 3-point play.
The motor that he plays with, his ability to turn the corner. Obviously, when you've been a small player your whole life, you have to know exactly how to find the glass, use the glass to your advantage. Turns the corner.
Third foul on Tevin Brown, subs out for Mulder to come back in. Something to watch. Fourth quarter around the corner. And that's an and one. Tavian Dunn-Martin. 8-point ball game, folks. This is Western Conference courtesy of Cal Tire. Pre-playoff action, but it certainly feels like the postseason. Samuel, big board, goes back up. Can't get the roll, indeed he does. Look at the fight from Tyrese, just his 4th points of the night. The Owl from Knight III on the ground. A tough check with Chaplin. Chaplin, second on the team in scoring behind Dunn-Martin, who's got 14. Chaplin takes a breather with 13 points. And here's your CDI seed, your player to watch, Monsanto. Monsanto to inbound. And hey fans, you gotta come see the new chapter of pro basketball in Saskatoon. Tickets are available by scanning the QR code or by visiting saskatoonmamba.ca/tickets. Corner, Williams hits it.
Just like that, both teams starting to find their outside rhythm.
Mulder with the blow by, goes to the cup, just swatted and cupped by Jalen Williams. Seized out of the air. Impact on both ends. Up top, too far for Bediako, who had the seal. Vancouver playing with fire. Saskatoon unable to convert.
Yeah, second time they've missed him. He's not happy. Had the matchup with Mulder. I mean, that's the matchup that you want on that bad switch, emergency switch. Give me something to work with. I'm sure he used other words, but... And
Bediako, look at his ability to use his body, goes right into the heart of the shot blocker. John Knight III gets right past Bediako, who's going to take a breather.
Yeah, he's starting to get frustrated, and, it's not necessarily what you want for your big, but you also don't want that to be costing a foul or a situation, so give him a break. Easton Timms was also a pretty good matchup for Dom Parolin, so you know that that's something that he can manage. Picking and chooses his angles on his finish.
Knight III to Mulder. Had a poster in the first half, finishes the layup there. Coach Fox going to call a quick timeout. Vancouver now ahead in scoring in this quarter. Up 74-63, 2.5 left here, Cheryl.
Well, we saw a 12-0 run from the Mamba to start this quarter, and the Bandits are starting to look like they're getting ready to go on a much bigger run. And again, it's from that defensive stop, attacking the rim, just like Coach Rand said, play with speed, let's play fast, get everybody involved. Some really good things for both teams here from a perspective of getting the right scoring looks. Bediako frustrated, not getting the passes that he needs. The Bandits right on point with the ones that they're trying to create.
In the 4th turnover of the quarter for these Mamba. Coach Fox identified that at halftime. They were threatening. They got as close as 1 point, but the Bandits talked things over, and they've been firing in the second half of this quarter.
But again, knocking down those open threes seems to be the injection of energy that the Bandits live on. The defensive stops allows them to create great transition scoring looks, but it just seems like they start walking on water a little bit when it comes down to knocking down some shots. Start playing a little bit more of untouchable basketball there.
We were talking about the bench production for Vancouver, plus 14. It's going north right now, 30-16, outscoring the secondary unit of the Mamba. John Knight III plays sparingly throughout this season. He's definitely had a much better second half to the Season 8 CEBL campaign. But right there, he gets the layup over Bediako, the much larger defender, grabs the turnover, quick pass to Mulder. Talk about these players recognizing the opportunities to make an impact.
Coming in knowing that you may have limited minutes. It can't be limited energy, and John Knight III is coming in with an abundance of big body guard basketball, makes his presence known.
Vancouver running, Gibbons swings it, Mulder back to Gibbons. Dunn-Martin all over him. Look at the defense between these two guards. Gibbons trying to get by him, steps back, 10 to work. Karnick goes right at Tim, right into the heart of Easton Tim. Karnick throws it up. Too big, too strong. He's James Karnick.
Well, whereas we talked about the matchup that Tim could manage is the Dom Parolin matchup. Not sure the Karnik matchup is the same experience for him. Younger post player. One of the things that we love about the CEBL is getting these players these early touches against big pros who are playing in great leagues around the world. A good reminder of how hard they have to keep working because they're there. They're getting little touches of it. They're getting little pieces of it. But this is just, again, we saw the too small there.
Dunmartin hits the first. He's nearly perfect from the free throw line throughout this season. But to credit Karnik, someone who's been really interesting to watch, made his professional debut in this very building in 2022, coming out of Boston College. In this past year, rose to the highest levels he's ever played at. He's been with the Czech national team the past few years, FIBA qualifiers, but played for Basket Girona in the Spanish ACB, widely regarded as the top league outside of the NBA. As Knight III goes right at Tim, a little bit too strong. Tapping it is Samuel, rebounding, starting to play a narrative in this second half. Look at the pump and the brakes. Tavian Dunmartin stops on a dime. Trading baskets are both clubs. Givens. Mulder. That's a little bit of space for Mike. Doesn't fall. Dunmartin, you know he wants to pull the trigger. He's got the mismatch in the bonus right now. Right by on the hesitation, turns on a dime. Karnik slips and falls. Tavian Dunmartin going to work, up to 18 points.
Read the eyes of the defender. Karnik just looked up to see how much of more time he had to defend this mismatch. Dunmartin took the opportunity to get to the rim on that.
Givens right at Dunmartin, and that's an offensive foul. You could see him initiate contact, and Tavian Dunmartin taking over on either end of the floor, locking down the perimeter and scoring buckets. You can see Givens, that forearm outstretched with the shoulder bump. Officials saw that the entire way. Vancouver was up 13. It's back to 8. As Givens takes a breather, Jarkel Joyner checks back in. 1 second differential, game clock, shot clock. Clayton back in.
Clayton has had some issues with traveling, so we'll see if he can keep this one clean.
Kick to Williams, the pump fake, Samuel stumbles, Clayton wide open from 3. Leaves it short, last touch by Tim. 2 seconds and change for Vancouver to work with. John Knight III says, I'm your quarterback. But instead, gonna sub out for the second stringer in Samuel. We'll see what they have. Full court press here from the Mamba. Can't be too sloppy with your entry here. Knight III to Joyner. Half court heave from Jarkel. It counts. If it had fallen. Too strong off glass as Vancouver's gonna head into the fourth quarter, holding on to an 8-point lead. Buckle up, grab your popcorn, tell a friend to tune in. Mamba on the comeback trail. Fourth quarter right after the jump. You're watching CEBL action live on CBC Gem, CEBL Plus, and YouTube.
Did you know that every CEBL game ends on a game-winning bucket? Yep, every single one. That's because we use something called target score ending, a thrilling twist that keeps fans locked in till the final shot. So what is the target score ending? Here's how it works. The first time the clock stops with 4 minutes or less left in the fourth quarter, the game clock is turned off. We enter target score time. We take the leading team's score, add 9 points, and that becomes the target score. Let's say it's 91-80. That means the first team to hit 100 wins. No ticking clock, no intentional fouls, just pure clutch basketball. It's fast, it's electric, and it guarantees that every game ends with a bang. Experience the target score ending this CEBL season.
Welcome back to Vancouver. Time now for the Cruise of the Game, presented by Cal Tire. The slam's so nice, we'll show you it twice. And Mike Mulder just stuffed it on Jalen Williams. Big moment from second quarter action. And we got the fourth quarter right around the corner.
The drama of the CBL, we talked about so many different storylines, milestones, the Mamba coming into this facility, not having beaten the Bandits here, but Tavian Dunn-Martin doing so much of the heavy lifting. You might want to mention some of the milestones that he's already matched in today's game.
Vancouver, Karnik, couple key baskets tonight. Kick back out to Pandy. Pandy, hesitation. Tough off glass, too strong. Karnik collects, goes right back up with it. And for Tavian Dunn-Martin tonight, big part of that third quarter. Now second for most three-pointers made in a single season. Regular season only. He also sets the single season franchise record for threes made. And he's also reached 750 points in his CBL career, regular season and playoffs combined. No basket for Williams, all smiles. Dunn-Martin gathering a breather right now. Just needed to find her point, Cheryl, to read off the list of accolades for Tavian. What a debut for Dunn-Martin, the CBL, in his second season. He's played for the Alliance, now for the Mamba, a big pickup. Here's Monet. Vanier College product. Swings it. Williams from three. He's pure. Hit one in the third, and he's hit one in the fourth.
Great ball movement, ball reversal, drive, kick, one more. Picture-perfect basketball, knocks down the three, and all of a sudden, again, we've said this so many times, this lead, it's never felt safe for the Bandits, regardless of whether it's double digits or single.
Mulder, time, space. Can't convert. Pandy taps it back out. Fresh clock. No, 14 on the clock. Jarkel, post up, pull up. Doesn't have enough on it. Karnik tried to get back. Mamba with pace. Clayton inside to Monet. Soft finish with two. They're down 5. Mulder. Scary moments. Karnik rolling. James Karnik shuts it down. LEC, turn out the lights. Karnik posterized Williams for the second time tonight. And Karnik a little bit too demonstrative after the whistle. Feeling himself. Was Sim Husseini going to call the unsportsmanlike? Mulder put Williams on a poster in the first half, and Karnik, that 2-foot gather, very reminiscent of what he did in Winnipeg earlier this week.
Well, the Mamba in that last rotation seemed to not know who had who. There was a little bit of a breakdown, and when you're playing with a big like Karnik and he recognizes that he still is not being defended as he's getting the ball, he made the statement known. If you can't figure out who's going to defend me, this is how the play is going to finish.
Williams hits the free throw. Watch out for him. Up to 14 points, couple of threes. These Mamba can't get too excited if you're Vancouver. This ball game very tight right now. 6-point lead. Inside to Townsend. Has the size mismatch on Brown. Goes off glass. Quick move. Didn't have to think about it.
And for the Mamba, again, this style of play right now, unlike the earlier parts of the game where they struggle, where they're trying to try a little bit too much isolation basketball, they're just forcing multiple defensive rotations now, trying to get those two bigs into trouble. And so far, they've been able to get some really good scoring looks because of that.
Brown for another postal code. Spills out. We have a loose ball foul as Parolin hits the ground. In and out on the Brown three.
Jalen Williams picking up that foul.
His third. Givens on the bench. Here's Joyner right to the cup with spin. Doesn't go. Parolin collects. Goes right back up. Dom Parolin showing you exactly why he brought his lunch pail to work today. Monsanto swings it. Williams can't leave him open right now. Rebound collected by Vancouver. A rare miss from Williams. 3 minutes from target score time. Parolin thought about the inside pass. Goes up with the left. Gets the roll. Dom Parolin, a blue-collar effort, up to 6 points.
Being able to go back to what's been working. Dom has a matchup right now that has enough time to figure out how he's going to manage that. Monsanto with the air ball. He's really struggling trying to find the right type of shots. And again, don't need to go back to that isolation. I've got this. As we see him coming off the floor, Chaplin stepping back in. The Mamba have been able to generate some really good scoring looks just by the ball moving multiple times. And so Bediako stepping back inside, in part, I'm sure, to manage some of the inside scoring looks and offensive rebounds that the Bandits have been able to generate.
Givens checks in for Joyner. Brown, he likes that curl off the screen. Indeed he does. Tevin Brown up to 20 points with another three. Foul against Givens as Clayton was working his way to the cup. Tavian Dunmartin says, enough's enough. This lead back at 11 comes in for Williams. Haven't seen the last of Jalen Williams. Also coming in is Devontae Bandu. Clayton comes out.
For Isaiah Fox, this a little bit frustrating where you have a lineup that's doing half of the job really, really well, but you still look up and go, we were just down by 7 a second ago. So we'll see if Bediako back on the floor, battling with Karnik inside.
Dunmartin right to the tin, puts the moves on Givens.
We'll see how fast Coach Rands decides to stick with Shamar Givens on this one. He's gone quickly back to Jarkel Joyner when Tavian Dunmartin starts scoring.
Brown deep two, leaves it short. Karnik fighting for it. Had an arm on the back of Bediako, loose ball foul. Three-point shooting for the Mamba has steadily improved, courtesy of Dunmartin. Jalen Williams now up to 38%. Both these teams 1 and 2 in three-point percentage. Saskatoon at 1, Vancouver at 2. But it's been the threes from the Bandits tonight. Bandu, he wants one. Working on Brown. All the moves in the playbook for Devontae. Dunmartin, that one's from Chilliwack. Too strong. Up to Givens. Right to the cup. Shamar goes up. He's going to head to the free throw line for 2.
Yeah, the Mamba going to some pin down screens to get the big to come up to the ball screen. They've decided, based on some of the matchups, that they don't think just going straight into that ball screen is the right way to get Bediako the basketball. They tried to get a back screen for him. Unfortunately, still couldn't get him the basketball. So you know that's going to be a storyline right now if Bediako doesn't get touches. Dunmartin really has to be the one that takes over the game then, because the ball is going to be in his hands a lot. So
Givens hits both. Bediako 6 points, 9 boards tonight. Dunmartin with a game high 23. Change of direction. That's the switch.
that's the matchup that Bediako's looking for.
And that's going to be the 4th foul against Vancouver, another one against Givens, his 4th personal. He's been their go-to point guard tonight with 8 assists, a game high. Can't commit another one.
More importantly, yes, you have this 11-point lead, but with target score ending looming, being in the bonus for that entire stretch could be
absorbing contact. Tavian Dunmartin met at the rim by Pandy. Better offense than defense. Jarkel prepares to check back in. 10 to work for Tevin Brown. Waves off the screen inside to Pandy. Going to work, swung to Parolin. Corner tray, Dom Parolin, the Coquitlam product. No bigger time to hit the corner three. .25 from target score time. Dunmartin gets the switch. 10 on the clock. Against Karnik, steps back. Doesn't fall, fighting for it is Bediako. And that's a foul on the ground. Bediako and Pandy. No one wants to let go of it. And you love the gamesmanship here. Pandy and Andre Babbage comes in and says, I'll disentangle your limbs. It's going to be a foul against Pandy. All smiles among the fans. And Vancouver cannot commit another foul here. Although it's the end of the season, still a lot more CBL hoops around the corner. Our next up for the Mamba is a trip back home to take on Khalil Ahmad and the Niagara River Lions for the final interconference game of the regular season this Wednesday. Tip-off from the SaskTel Center at 7:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern as Bediako hits the first. And on the home side, the Bandits are going to hit the road for the final time this regular season when they travel to Montreal to take on Quincy Guerrier and the Alliance. Action tips off Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Bediako, 2 for 2 from the free throw line just before target score time as Pandy takes a breather. John Knight III checks back in.
Been in this scenario before. Pandy picking up his fourth foul just before target time. And then again, he's been a primary defender on them. He's managed some great matchups. But we've also seen the Bandits and their shot selection in this time of the game. It'll be interesting to see what they try to do.
Jarkel, that's deep. Spills out, batted around. First to it is Jarkel, and he takes a tumble. 10 points separate these two tightly contested Cal Tire Western Conference foes. Target score time right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. A chance to clinch home court for Vancouver, a chance to keep fighting for Saskatoon. You're watching CEBL action live on CBC Gem, YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
Let's bring it on. It's game time. It's showtime. Nick Hornsby. Here's Oakland for the win.
You gotta love a Canadian goose.
Two hands. Oh, what a block from behind.
Next bucket wins. Target score time is the best time of a game. The energy, the drama.
That anything can happen. Oh, my goodness. Can you believe this guy?
Big players step up in big time.
He is cooking.
Welcome back inside Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. It's the most thrilling finish in all of global professional basketball. Vancouver holding on to a 10-point lead that feels much more slim than that. Why, might you ask? It's Tavian Dunmartin with 25. It's Jalen Williams with 15. It's Jameer Chaplin with 13. You can go down the entire list for this Mamba group. They're showing you why they're winners of 3 straight. They want to keep padding their lead in the West, holding on to 3rd spot, get further ahead of Edmonton. Calgary's on their tail as well. They're 10-10, but the Mamba, if they finish really hot and Winnipeg falters, they could actually overtake them for 2nd in the West. But Vancouver, chance to clinch home court in that opening game of the playoffs Thursday, August 6th. They got to close the deal here tonight, Cheryl.
One possession at a time. They start this first part of target score ending on defense, and it's really about managing those matchups. Sticking with the guard on this.
In the bonus, Chaplin, past Parolin, high off glass, spills out, tapped around, Townsend collects, swings it, Bandu. Also off the top of the backboard. Foul charge against Chaplin, get entangled with Parolin as the Mamba had the Bandits in the blender, escaping the first possession.
Great battle on the low block there for the board, just got a little bit too much. Parolin had position, Chaplin tried to elevate, maybe used Parolin's position to do that, but and here's the first possession for the Bandits.
First to 103. Inside to Samuel. He's had a quiet night. Gets blocked. Chaplin, great help side D. Bandu pulls up. Bandu hits it. They're within 7.
And again, is this the start of the second half again where, you know, settling for a certain slower options? Bediako for Tyrese has been a good scoring look for him when he's getting it in movement. So
Knight the third has to make something out of nothing here. Going to the cup off a leg, blocking foul. That's a fortuitous call as Chaplin wondering where he went wrong. Knight the third did not have anywhere to dribble on that play. And this is the impact of Shamar Gibbons playing with 4 fouls right now. Your primary facilitator. It's been a tough night for Jarkel Joyner. Just 3 of 14 from the field. Joyner working it with Samuel. Kicked back out to Brown. Tevin Brown lost it. Chaplin to the cup. He's going to head to the line for 2 shots. Chance to start target score on a 5-0 run. And his 4th as well. Foul trouble looming large to start target score time for Vancouver.
little moments that could go either way. Chaplin playing with 4 fouls, really picks the pocket there. Gets to the free throw line himself instead. Something that you don't love to see in target time. You do get to the free throw line and then you miss.
1 of 1 prior to that trip to the free throw line. Now 1 for 2. Splits a pair, and Karnick's going to check back in. Samuel comes out. And this is that BC big lineup that was crucial against Winnipeg. There was a 9-0 run for these Bandits in target score time against the Sea Bears. Have to reach into the pocket here for something similar. Karnick to the cup. James Karnick looked to put it on Bediako's head top. You love the aggression, couldn't finish it off. He's going to head to the line for 2 shots. Oohs and ahs from the crowd. Karnick looking for his second poster of the evening.
We saw Karnick coming into the league a few years ago, coming into the league working out an injury, and so not necessarily seeing his early explosion when he first started his CEBL career, but now you're starting to see his ability to just explosively make things happen.
It's the first free throw. More importantly, both teams in the bonus now the rest of the way. Leaves it short. Both teams split their first free throw trip in target score time. Trailing on Dunmartin. Working on Parolin. Blows to the rim. Turns around. Swings to the corner for Townsend. Misses. Brown off and running. Brown to Knight the third with one-handed emphasis. John Knight the third soars in with reckless abandon, and Vancouver's within 6. Did somebody call trailer? His name's John Knight the third. Clear the runway.
John Knight the third dunked in warm-up, and I think, were we surprised to see that? Maybe.
Sneaky ups from John Knight the third.
But no surprise there. Comes with authority, and again, instead of settling for some of these little mid-range floater fadeaway shots, there was no fadeaway in this finish.
Makes no room for error there as Vancouver falters out of the gate in target score time. Now they've had a response. You saw a little bit of shuffling. Karnick comes back in for Samuel. A quiet night for Tyrese, as we mentioned. 18 minutes, 6 points, 3 of 10, 5 rebounds, 3 turnovers. But coming in instead is James Karnik, had a double-double against Winnipeg, working on 15 points on 6 of 8 from the field, 8 rebounds, most importantly, 5 of them offensive for James Karnik.
That's one of the luxuries that the Bandits can afford now, where if one of their bigs isn't quite producing or giving them what they've been asking for, they can quickly go to something else without losing that size advantage. So between Dom Perlin, Karnik, and Samuel, you have a lot of different things that they can do, and right now you're seeing a little bit of a defensive rotations. If Samuel's not able to make some of those defensive rotations or get some of those rebounds, you might see Karnik coming in a little bit earlier, because we know that he will attack the boards for every single rebound, and in target time you really want to try to reduce the number of possessions you give up to your opponent.
Bandu has hit a 3 in target score time. Into the corner for Williams. Bounces around, fight for it with Bediako. Couple dribbles, throws it back up. Look at the strength, Jaden Bediako.
Through traffic, multiple defenders, pivots, great finish for him, and again, probably will reflect back on this game and say there could have been more scoring looks. He only has 8 points in tonight's game, but
Devin Brown, the sidestep, the finish. Vancouver's within a 3-point field goal from clinching home court in the postseason. Bandu, Bediako alone inside. Foul charge against Perlin, just his second of the game. Gonna send Bediako back to the free throw line.
you already knew you were in bonus going into that situation for Dom Perlin. Just don't give him a highlight reel. Make him make free throws to win this. Townsend stepping in, Dunmartin stepping off, going to a little bit more length to be able to recover. So we'll see if we see an offensive-defensive rotation here for the Mamba.
Bediako on the season, a 61.2% free throw shooter, misses the first. Missed them both.
Well, if you're the home fans, you're hoping sandwich and a win.
Brown's been the hot hand. He wants it one more time to Karnik. Karnik going to the hoop. Karnik spills out. That's a turnover. Quick pass. Williams up and under. Bediako's there, goes right back up with it. Vancouver can't hunt the three. You just have to take the best shot available.
Bediako now double-double, 10 boards, 10 points.
Jarkel rises. Doesn't go. Perlin right back up. Soft touch. That's what you need. Dom Perlin's got the answer.
Yeah, and we're seeing this defense, offensive sub here. Dunmartin stepping back onto the floor. We saw Townsend come on, likely to get that defensive stop, but now you need offense. And if you need offense, you need Dunmartin on the floor.
It will take a Herculean effort now for the Mamba. 1 point to win it for Vancouver. Dunmartin makes the pass to Williams, rises. Front rim, Bandu, he's got space. Rebound into the hands of Brown. Vancouver a single point away from home court. Tevin Brown doesn't fall. Rebound goes to John Knight III, goes right back up with it. Great defense from the Mamba at the cup. Chaplin doesn't go. Mamba trying to shoot their way back into this one. Joyner working on the post up. Lots of contact here. They're letting them play Jarkel to the corner, but Chaplin saw the baseline pass. Coach Rands wants to chat it over. He doesn't want to play with his food right now. He's going to draw something up. Vancouver, chance to improve to 14-8 to try and put their clamps on this Western Conference top spot.
Pick your poison. Who do you want with the ball in their hands to finish this game? Someone that can just finish the basket. Like you said, don't play with your food. If you're Saskatchewan right now, you've had probably 3 or 4 really solid good looks from a team that can shoot the 3 really well. Missed opportunities is likely going to be the final word of this game, with the Bandits seeking this 1 point to target score ending. Chaplin, Dunmartin, you have the players that you need to be knocking down those shots. Unfortunately, the one that you found in your previous game that hasn't really found, Monsanto, still at 3 points, has not really been able to produce for them. 1 for 6 from the 3-point line, and again, plenty of great opportunities for them. 35% from the 3-point line is not where you need it to be to beat this Bandits team in their home court.
Jarkel Joyner has been the conductor throughout target score time. Shamar Gibbons with 4 fouls on the bench. Tevin Brown also playing with 4 fouls. He's their leading scorer for Vancouver with 23. Just a blistering 7 of 10 from the land beyond for Tevin Brown. Joyner. ISO on Martin. Has the congestion. Steps back. Degree of difficulty. Turn it up. Another chance at it. Brown. Working on Williams. Tevin Brown lost it for a moment. There's the crossover. There's the sidestep. Fighting for is Parolin. Last touch by Dom. Vancouver lit on the basket, unable to break the Mamba perimeter defense.
Mr. Clutch you, Mr. Clutch me, Mr. Clutch you.
None of those great looks. And we have a hand check from Joyner on Dunmartin, going to send him to the free throw line. Coach Rance didn't get what he was looking for out of the timeout. And Dunmartin, you do not want to give him any way to get going. These free throws, a chance to do so as he hits the first. Hits them both. Dunmartin, game high 27. Joyner to Karnik. Karnik pulls up over Bediako. Might have had a hand on it. Swung out. Dunmartin. Sidestep over Parolin. Dunmartin spills out. Up to John Knight III. John Knight III kicked back out to Karnik. That's a free throw. Doesn't go either. 2-on-1. Make it 3-on-1. Corner for Dunmartin. Doesn't go. Karnik's fighting for it. Last touch by Parolin. And right now for Vancouver, couple shots for Karnik. You mentioned it, hero ball. Not really working for each other. And you guessed it, the primary playmaker for the Bandits checks back in. Shamar Gibbons with 8 assists.
My money is give the ball to Shamar Gibbons and so someone else steps in. Give it to one of your bigs and finish this game.
Jans Brempong uses another timeout. These Mamba within 5, chipping away as Vancouver has been unable to convert. And if there was anything that this was reminiscent of, it is identical to that Montreal Alliance game where they dropped it on the road here. They entered target score up 10, and the Bandits just kept fighting and missed opportunities. And right now, the Mamba getting closer to being in a similar situation.
When you think about what it takes to score with a 1-point lead, settling for fadeaway 3-point shots can be tricky, because if you don't get that scoring look and everyone is assuming that the game is going to be over, not only do you not make that shot, but transition-wise, you're giving the other team far more of an advantage than you normally would when you're just going back and forth when you still have minutes or a few possessions left to play. So this is a little bit of a sloppy play for the Bandits. If you're thinking about the tone that you want to set heading into playoffs, these are not the circumstances that you want to then, unfortunately, leave to the officials. And this is something that the Bandits have struggled with, where now you're looking at this going, this is technically a 2-possession game here, 2 threes, and the Mamba could win this game. And for the Bandits, this is something that you've done to yourself. You had a multiple possession lead And now because you're trying to find a certain shot instead of the shot, you're putting yourself at risk. So these are not the type of trends that you want to keep going, because this will bite you in the end if you're not careful.
Vancouver 7-3 at home on the season. The Mamba 4-6 on the road, looking to be road warriors and pull off the upset here with a terrific comeback. Credit Isaiah Fox's group. They fought hard. We'll see what Vancouver has in store. Samuel back in for Karnick. Parolin sets the screen. Brown to the cup. Takes contact. Last touched by Bediako, or maybe it was Chaplin. Tevin Brown ran into the trees. 10 on the clock off the inbounds. On the catch is Tyrese. On the dribble, Tyrese to Shamar. Drives right to the cup. Shamar Gibbons throws it up, and Shamar Gibbons for the second time in back-to-back weekends calls game. Shamar Gibbons, how do you do? Vancouver has secured home court advantage for the upcoming CEBL playoffs. Buy your tickets, LEC fans. Vancouver is going to be hosting on Thursday, August 6th. And for the Mamba, full credit. They fought hard after being down 16 points in the first quarter. No lead was safe tonight, Cheryl.
No lead, no lead. The Mamba have several players that went on personal 5-0 runs just by really digging deep and finding the best possible scoring look. Their three-point shooting failed them today towards the end of that game, especially when that was the shot that the Bandits were giving up. Some of those degree of difficulty were quite high, but you have to look at this and saying, okay, we are still getting ready to be a playoff team. We may be coming back into this gym, you know, for that playoff game. And so lessons be learned. To come in here and beat the Bandits, there's a few more things that you needed. They were close, but no cigar.
And Shamar Gibbons, what can you say about this ball game? 9 points, 8 assists, sits the entirety of target score time, and then comes in. Coach Rand says, enough's enough. Get the ball to Shamar in the corner, and he drives past Tavian Dunmartin, finishes acrobatically off glass, and what a way to kick off a big road trip out to Verdun Auditorium when they visit the Montreal Alliance.
The Bandits have a lot of style of play decisions to make. If you look at that game, again, 104 points. This is the offense that we saw earlier in the season. 25 assists is part of the storyline. Jarkel Joyner with 7 assists. Shamar Gibbons with 8. When you have those two guards producing that many points for their teammates, good things are going to happen.
And another guard who produced terrifically tonight, Tevin Brown with 23 points. He is your Booster Juice player of the game. Kevin joined now with Tevin Brown.
Yeah, Tevin, some nervous moments there at the end, but you guys got the job done. How were you able to pull it off?
I didn't hear nothing you said. I didn't hear you.
Some nervous moments at the end. How were you able to pull it off?
I mean, we had a good enough lead to where we could, we took a few bad shots, but in the end, we needed to get the job done.
Hey, you were red hot all night long, though. How big did that hoop look tonight for you?
I mean, it looks pretty big when the shot's going in.
And talk to me a little bit about the resilience of this team, because this Mamba team really came out in the second half. They got within one, and you guys seem to answer every run of theirs tonight.
We just have to keep doing what we're doing when it's working and not going away from what's working at the time. If we stay with what we know, then I feel like we'll be good.
Finally, you guys clinched at least one home game for the playoffs. How did that feel?
Feels good not to have to travel.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Feels good. Hey, who likes traveling when you don't need to, guys? We'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Tevin Brown, your Booster Juice player of the game. 7-11 from the land beyond. One of them in target score time as well. Cheryl, the Bandits found a way, and as Tevin said, keep calm and carry on.
Well, we had a big enough lead that we could is one of those comments that you're like, it worked for you today, but is this the trend that you want to keep going? Down, winning, they know they can win from down. They know they can win with the lead. But again, going into someone else's gym, staying at home, sometimes the officials are not your friends, and I would say oftentimes they're not your friends. Your challenge is, do you control your own fate? They managed the first one, controlling your own fate, which is getting that home court advantage in the playoff system. So these are just little things. Again, we talked about the chemistry, and Coach Rance talked about that as well. When you start adding people to the roster, especially late additions, these are some of the key points that they're going to have to understand. This is your contribution. This is what we need you to do for us to have success this season.
Talk about extra contributions from new pieces. Steven Zimmerman comes in, plays some solid, limited minutes, if you will, 3 minutes and change, 2 points, 4 rebounds. Jarrell Eddy, nice bounce back game, 12 points, all of 3-point variety. And Tevin Brown, a mid-season addition, your Booster Juice player of the game. So as Vancouver prepares to head out to Montreal, have to take care of business there, but then a big matchup against number 2 in the West, Winnipeg, next weekend.
Well, they've seen Winnipeg at home now. They've seen them on the road. That's why these late season matchups become so interesting, because there's less of a surprise in terms of the matchup. Xavier Moon, you have so many great players with Teddy Allen on that floor. And if you look at the matchups that Winnipeg just had today, they dropped a game. Those 2 players played and scored the majority of their points. So which trend are you following as a team as you're heading towards the end of the regular season into playoffs? That's what every team wants to figure out, so that they know exactly what they have to do to be the team on top by the end of the game.
Mamba fall to 10-11. Vancouver improved to 14-8. We got a little bit more post-game analysis for you right after the jump. You're watching CEBL post-game live on CBC Gem, CEBL Plus, and YouTube. Welcome back to post-game high at Vancouver. The skyline looking beautiful tonight, and here at Envision Financial Court in Langley Event Center, a terrific performance from Vancouver. It wasn't always pretty, fighting off multiple runs for the Mamba, but Cheryl, you were just talking about it. Everyone who stepped on the floor tonight for these Bandits contributing in different ways. Everyone scored, and with this team obviously running out of transactions down the stretch, what sort of chemistry are we looking for? Because who you have is who you're stuck with the rest of the way. And I shouldn't say stuck with. Your group needs to continue to gel, and you want to enter the playoffs on a high, playing your best basketball. Well,
one of the stat lines for the Bandits that have stood out for this entire season is their offensive efficiency. But I would love to see the stat line for their offensive efficiency when it comes to target score ending, because the last 3 or 4 minutes of these games have been stressful. And so looking at, we heard our player of the game say this. We have to stick to what we do and who we are. And so it comes down to how they manage some of those things to be that type of team towards the end of the game.
The Bandits' identity, we've heard it sometimes on social. They call them cardiac bandits because sometimes they make your heart skip a little beat, and it did so tonight in target score time, but they found a way And we got plenty more CEBL action this weekend. It's a triple header of CEBL action on deck for tomorrow. Tune in. And first, you got the battle for playoff positioning in the Lotto Max Eastern Conference, which is continuing from the Meridian Center in Niagara, where the River Lions and Blackjacks square off. Action begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. Then, a potential first-round playoff matchup in the East as the Montreal Alliance travel to the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre to take on MVP candidate Miles Powell and the Shooting Stars. Tip-off at 4 p.m. Eastern, and to cap off the day of the triple header, it's the final Battle of Alberta of the season and a rematch from Friday night as the Calgary Surge are in Edmonton to take on the Stingers. The festivities begin at 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern. Catch all the action on CBC Gem, YouTube, and CEBL Plus. Cheryl, 2 games left in the regular season for Vancouver, 3 for the Mamba. Any closing thoughts on what we are calling the most competitive season in CEBL basketball history?
Anything can happen, any game at any point. We've seen the Bandits down by 22 come back on their home court and win. We've seen them up and have to hold your breath to see if they can finish it out. But again, home court advantage has been so critical for the majority of these teams. You've mentioned this, the backlog in the East. You've mentioned the fact that in the West, still things have not been completely figured out. So for fans of the CEBL, you're going to be in for a treat when it comes to playoff basketball, because even Scarborough has had some moments where they initially at the beginning of the season looked like they were untouchable, and there's been a few games in the past few weeks where there's been some holes poked into that persona. So whoever is ready to play and whoever is ready to get the game done, start to finish, is going to be the one that finishes on top.
It's going to be a race to the finish indeed. And if you love what you saw tonight, keep an eye on all the broadcast information ahead, whether it's nationally televised, etc. It all depends on the standings. But either way, you're going to be able to catch the action on CEBL Plus, CBC Gem, YouTube, or CBC Linear Cable TV across the nation. Bandits first in the West right now. We hope to see you again soon. For the entire team up in the booth, Carson, Taylor, Brad, and all those who I might not have mentioned, I'm Andrew Savory. Thanks so much to Kevin Chirac and Cheryl Jean-Paul for joining me. Big win for Vancouver. Tune in tomorrow for lots more CEBL action. Have a great night, folks.
With your head top down for some action.